Welcome back. Today we're going to proceed from where we left, and now, having finished the Activate series or mini series of videos, now we are going to proceed with the book of Genesis from where we left in the previous video. That is Genesis chapter 25. We're going to look at Abraham's descendants. We're going to look at the life of Isaac, and we're going to look at briefly the beginning of the life of Jacob. So we are going to do chapter 25 to chapter 20, up to the end of, or the beginning of chapter 27, so the end of chapter 26. All right, so let's pull through. We don't need that. All right, let's look at Genesis chapter 25. Then again Abraham took a wife. This is after Sarah had passed on. Then again Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. That's Keturah. Verse 2. And she bare him Zimram, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And Jokshan begat Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim, and Letushim, and Letumim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah, and Ephar, and Hanok, and Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. Verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. Let's pause a bit for verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. Now Isaac is the proprietor of the lineage, or the Spirit of God is moving from line to line. So he's a rightful inheritor, or heir, of all that Abraham will have. So the possession of the land of Canaan will not go to the concubines. It will go now through Isaac. That's why everything is being given to Isaac, the land and everything. But these are children who end up with gifts, right? But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. So they were sent somewhere to the east country, right? Away from this promised land, which, remember, it is Canaan. Which, remember, the children of Israel, Jacob will go to Egypt and still go back to the promised land. So the land is rightfully theirs from the beginning. And when I say Jacob is all Jacob, or Abraham is all of Abraham and the descendant, not one part. All right, let's look at verse 7 of Genesis chapter 25, the death and burial of Abraham. So Abraham dies. This is maybe the 7 years after Sarah had passed on, and this is Abraham at the age of about 175. Yeah? And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 115 years. That's the KJV calculation of it. Verse 8. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. This is my prayer to all of you, that you may not give up your ghost or your spirit. Don't give up your spirit before time, by way of any means, that you may live long. To do what? In a good old age. Why? As an old man, full of years. Then you may be gathered to your people when you are old and when you have accomplished everything. This is a prayer against, what does this my prophet call it? A premature death. May you all live long to an old age, full of life, full of years, right? Verse 9. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth, there was Abraham buried, and Sarah his wife, right? And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well of Lahai Roi. Now, just want to mention something here. It's okay. I just want to confirm the age of Isaac would have been Ishmael would have been a bit 89, maybe. Ishmael was older than Isaac, right? So both of them would have come together to bury their father. They would still have that bond, and they were old and they were mature and all that, right? But it wouldn't be so when you go down the line in terms of history, right? Another important part of this section is verse 11. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt by the well Lahairoi. What happened to Isaac? After the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac. So Isaac was not blessed before, but he carried blessing, which came to life after the death of Abraham. There's that perspective also. So it calls for various aspects of life. It pulls something interesting here. There's a succession that happens when the predecessor or successor, or whoever is before, until they die, then there's a blessing on this other one. That's the case here. We're seeing there's something I want you to see. There's a need for those in training, to hold steadfast. It's like a succession paradigm here, or a paradigm shift, where it pulls also an aspect of respect between Isaac and Abraham, because of many aspects of life. There is a natural father, then there is a bearer of blessing passed on, as Isaac will pass on the blessing to Jacob. It is like an old age scenario where you have to respect the elders, and it also applies to leadership, where you have to respect people who are before you as you learn and as you proceed. There's also so many you can pick from there, but generally it's all about respect of elders or people who are training you until that time reaches, so that you can pick up from there. All right, so don't jump the rope. You can never, this is what I'm looking for. You can never wear more clothes than your parents. You can never wear more clothes than the person that is training you. All right, your teacher will always be ahead. So you have to wait patiently, and you learn until that time when you graduate to the next level. I think that's what I want to. That's what I want to. Sorry, I keep on looking the other side. The camera is here. Anyway, let's proceed. Genesis chapter 12. Now, these are the generation of Ishmael. Excuse. Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, these are about 12 princes, in the Bajoth and Kedar and Adbil and Mibsam. Verse 14, and Mishma and Duma and Massa, Hadar and Tema, Jetur, Naphish and Kedema. Verse 16, these are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their towns and by their castles, 12 princes according to their nations. Now this section fulfills the promise. There's a time here back when God was Abraham was having conversation with God regarding the son Ishmael, and a blessing was released to Ishmael, and this is now coming to pass, right? And these are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. And he gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people. So he was older than Isaac. So now Isaac is left, right? And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest out toward Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. Right? That one tells you something interesting. There was something we mentioned about him. being against his relative, something like that, or in the presence of his relative. So that one also comes into context, but it will reflect more maybe when you go down history, right, or down the line. Let's look at Genesis chapter 25 verse 19. Let's proceed. This is now Isaac's descendants. We finished with Ishmael, right? And these are the generation of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, right? And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian, of Padanaram, the sister to Ladam the Syrian, right? But let's go verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, right? And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. You need to understand one thing. I will do a teaching here on I'll do something. I'll do a ministry in terms of maybe this the commandment of where it talks about adultery. There's so many linkages here, to conception. Being conception, you see, conception is a process of bringing another human being. It's the process of continuing with what God had started in the Garden of Eden, and it's a creation in its manner. It's procreation. It's something very important to God. So, if conception is all about God, and if you're not able to conceive, you just need to have a relationship with God, have that conversation with God. So look at that's the teaching on this verse, right? And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, right? And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. You see, so Isaac entreated of the Lord and talked to God about the wife who was barren, and then God answered. And then what happened? Rebekah his wife conceived. All of you who need children, may you have the grace to have the relationship with God, to believe in Jesus Christ, because now that's the other way. This one was going direct, but now you have to pass through Jesus Christ, so that now what happens? You can conceive. We'll teach more about it, but the whole point of all it is that children come from God. That's period. In fact, all manner of life come from God. So if you see something regenerating to another, anything that's alive, it comes from God. It's a procreation, multiplication, that's sort, right? So verse 22, and the children struggled together within her. She had twins. Not really twins, she had two other twins, yeah. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Again, you see, now she has been given children from God. The only person who can answer the question regarding children is God. So now she has gone back to God and asked this question. And she went to inquire of the Lord. Listen now, verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now here he's talking about, you see here, the God has already given her something. Something has been activated in her. There's a promise, a revelation, a prophecy. So she already knows what she's carrying at this point. So this one now will help Rebekah. Will help Rebekah to go through with the pregnancy, to labor, and to bring forth these 2 people, because she already knows. She has already heard from God that there are 2 nations, right? And she will play a big role to make sure that the elder serves the younger. Because why? It's already been spoken in verse 23. And this will motivate her to do that bit and to actually to take that risk, because she already has the word. So now this is the word that Rebekah is riding on to make Israel the nation, and Edom, Parsi, or Esau. So Let's see at the birth of Esau and Jacob, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Yeah, twins. And the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. Was red as soil, like a hairy garment. Very red, like blood, close to Adam. Right? And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob, and Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Right? This is self-explanatory. You see now Jacob coming and grasping. He didn't want to be left behind. It's very intelligent from the beginning, right? So both of them came out together, technically, right? None was left behind in terms of labor. Both of them so lie together, or they were pulled out together, if I may say. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in the tents. Esau would end up being like Isaac. But Jacob will be that man who will be in the tent, doing what in the tent? Learning. There's a whole character towards Esau and a whole character toward Jacob. Being in the tent, you are learning, you're quiet, you're calm, you are with the books, you are learning, you are growing in the spirit. The one who is outside is very wild, just hunting, gathering, and all manner of things, exploring. It's on safari, if I may. Right. This one here is learning secrets of the tent. He's learning about the Father, the secrets of the Father. He's learning about God. He's learning so many things. So you gather knowledge when you're inside the tent, not outside, in the presence of God, right? Inside the tabernacle, if I may. It depends on how you want to look at it, but those are the two different characters between Edom and Jacob. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. Yeah, good answer, hunter. But Rebekah loved Jacob. Why? Because he was in the tent. And remember verse 23. Let's see verse 29 what it says. And Jacob sought pottage, and Esau came from the field. He was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. That's why he took the name Edom. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Why? For food only. This man thought it was a joke because he carried an entire birthright, and he just gave it up to Jacob. It's not wise at all, for food. So you've sold for food. People sell a lot of things, and may you never reach a point where you're so pushed to the wall by life that you will sell your body, you will sell your soul, you will sell your temple, which is you. There's so much more about you for you to sell it for money, because even that money you get, together with the money and you will both perish. And this pulls the concept of Matthew 6:33 there. Is it there? Where Jesus Christ is talking about the birds of the air and who is feeding them. They're always hungry in the morning, but at the end of the day, they will sure they have. It's a test of faith. So always keep the fact that there's God in heaven who will always be with you when you are at this point of Esau. So don't convert from Esau to Edom. Stay Esau. Even better, convert from Esau to Jacob in this manner of character. And be patient, because at the end of the day, if Esau could have waited, then the mother could have brought food, for heaven's sake, if I may say. Or rather, let's omit that part, but say, if you could have waited, Rebekah could have brought food. True. So that's a sad part of the birthright. It went just like that because of food. Hence the name now, Edom. Let's look at Genesis chapter 26. We're jumping. God's covenant with Isaac. So this is the two. We are done with them. Let's look at Isaac. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, and to Gerar. There is discussion here about Abimelech not being the same Abimelech that Abraham had met. But the kingdom is the same, even if it's a child, but it's the same. Could have looked at the years of maybe it's the same, because we are not told of the age of Abimelech, right? So high chances are it's the same Abimelech, because he knew the father of this young man. You understand? He's about maybe 40, I think, which we'll have to confirm. All right, but now look. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. What would have happened if you would have gone to Egypt? We would have met another Hagar. Would have met another Egypt, or would have ended up in bondage. So this is a very important lesson to all of you. Why? Have a relationship with God so that He can direct the feet, give you directions that you know. When you listen now to God, you tell, don't go back to Egypt, go this way. So when the things are dry, please don't go back to the world. You and both the world will perish one way or another. There is so many descriptions here of the scriptures. When we look at Moses giving the terms and conditions before he's dying to Egyptians, to Israel. Sorry, what happens when you follow God? What happens when you don't follow? It's a whole text. We'll go through it. But when life gets tough, please don't go back to the world. Listen to God. Stay. So God will give you direction on where to go and to calm down, and then the storm will pass over. Right? So it's very important for you to have a relationship with God. So important that I'm actually teaching these things for free. This is what God tells Isaac, verse 3. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Why? Because Abraham, the father, obeyed my voice, kept the charge, my commandments, statutes, and laws. So there are always terms and conditions with God. You have to do what? You have to obey God. You have to keep the charge. You have to obey the commandments. You have to keep the statutes of God and the laws. Terms and conditions apply. For this, the son is blessed. So if you are a father, you have a role to play for your descendants. Because if you are a father, you are automatically now a generation on your own. You are now an ancestor. You is yet to be an ancestor, but yes, technically. So you have a role to play for your children. You need to serve God so that your children also can receive the blessing from God. It goes like that. So here is a whole promise to Isaac, similar to that one of Abraham being carried forward. And remember, this is not going to Ishmael, it's only going to Isaac. Why? Because Isaac is a true descendant in terms of line of God through Abraham. The rest were from concubines, all right? Let's look at verse 6. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. Follow the commandment, no questions. And the men of the place, now this gets interesting. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he feared to say, She is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at a window, and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah, his wife. Notice that now the aspect of repetition comes in. Things that are being done by the father are being done by the son. The patterns that we call them paternal and maternal patterns, foundations. May they not follow you. May they break from this perspective. you be the person to break them by the power of Jesus Christ, so that you don't carry over. So don't keep circling the same block, if I may say. You understand? So you may move on to the next stages in life. Your father, your maternal people might have been addicted to alcohol, maybe prostitution, maybe what else? It's common. Untimely death. There's so many things that you can carry over. So many things. This one now is deception or a lie from Isaac. Same thing, same king, same place, same king, same country, same as a dad. Why? Same conditions, same death. So he's carrying over so many things. Desert condition, the drought, lie, same thing, same place. You have the opportunity to change, jump. Okay, there's so many here you can, but that's a shift. So this one has carried over so many things from the father, and he has actually done the same thing exactly as Abraham and Isaac did, with the same place, with the same kingdom. And the same thing will happen to the king. So now Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, here by me spotting, they are playing together. They lied. They were playing together, and you know two people in love. This chemistry." The king knew, so the chemistry between Rebekah and Isaac, this chemistry can't lie. Touch not the anointed. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, of a surety she is thy wife." And how says, "Now she is my sister." And Isaac said unto him, "Because I said, lest I die for her." This is a fear of death we are seeing from this Isaac. Okay. And Abimelech said, "What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might likely have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us." All right, there's also the aspect which I told you. Maybe Isaac knew this, that he knew he's anointed. The wife knew that they were walking with God. So anyone who would have touched them, that's pure insurance and pure security. So they knew by telling these people that there's a sister. One of them going there would have been killed instantly, and the whole kingdom would have wiped out instantly. Why? Because they knew who was within them. They knew they were not alone. Isaac and Rebekah are activated by such. So it's the Spirit of God, they correspond there directly. You see, no angel, direct. You see, direct. So they also knew whom they were. So please know who you are. When you believe in Jesus Christ, you need to know who you are, know what you carry. You know what you carry. Do you remember the son of Sceva in the book of Acts? Yeah. Know what you carry. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, "He that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." Abimelech knew it is better to off one than the whole kingdom to go. But death is death, a penalty to that one who takes one's wife. Let's look at verse 12 of chapter 26. Then Isaac, now this part, Isaac now is free. Isaac has land for free. No one can touch him. So now Isaac will, what will Isaac do? Isaac will prosper. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. For the farmers, it is God who gives land. It is God who gives sowing. What do I say? Reaping, like harvesting. It is God who provides that. The 100-fold comes from God. Why? It's a regenerative manner. You're doing one seed, you expect one seed to multiply. Multiplication of growth or living things is an activity done by God. So why? God blessed Isaac. And what happened to Isaac? He received the same year 100-fold. And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. What did he do? He waxed great, went forward, and he became very great, very great. May this be your portion as you serve God. Automatically, this is what happens. For free. But you have a terms and conditions. You have a part to play. Look at Genesis chapter 25 verse 5. You have a part to play. All right. For he had possessions of flocks, verse 14, and possession of herds and great store of servants, and the Philistines envied him, because the gods of the Philistines will not achieve this. For all the wells which his father had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. Why did they fill this place? When you talk about wells and spring, it's a symbol of life, spirit. So they fill this so that they will not be threatened by the growth of Abraham. Let's look at verse 17. And Isaac departed thence, so that's why they told him to go. So he chased Isaac away because now they are afraid. Because now he's mightier than them, right? Verse 17 says, And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. And Isaac digged again the wells of water which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham, and he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esek, because they strove with him. And they digged another well and strove that also, and he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence and digged another well, and for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord had made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. Okay. Rehoboth here meaning open spaces, Esek meaning strife, Sitnah meaning hostility. Look, walking with God gives you blessings. People will envy it. People will want it. There's a gentleman, it's not biblical, but it's a gentleman who used to, I've read in the internet. There's a gentleman somewhere in Florida who used to have very cunning spirit, or if I may, short gentleman who lived in the 1900s or so, who used to build rocks and carry big rocks by himself. He knew of how to lift the rocks, big huge rocks, and he made this coral castle, and he manipulated the laws of physics very nicely. So he built things that only machines could do, but he did it on his own, using his own knowledge given to him, because all knowledge comes from God either way. So he had the knowledge to do all that. But that was his portion of blessing. So he ended up being wealthy in some aspect. But then again, when he died, something he mentioned that, everyone just wants your wealth, not you. Because once you die, then people are left fighting over what you had, that kind of thing. So similar scenario we are seeing here with the Philistines. They are blessed. There's a blessing here. So this man Isaac discovers water. Philistines comes and fight over it. Goes to them. But why didn't the Philistines dig their own wells and get their own water? Because they couldn't get water on their own. Why? Because the blessings come from God. That's why they were striving with this man. Because water is life, water is gold in this manner in terms of agriculture. So expect that when you are blessed, people will envy you. But don't mind the people, because the blessings come from God, and God's blessings are abundant. So keep digging wells, because water will come up until you get tired. Blessings comes in a way that you are also blessed until your enemies are also blessed. So they strove with two, give them, made one peace with this other one called Rehoboth. I hope you can see it, right? May you have such blessings, because this is a season of blessing in these verses. Right? Let's look at chapter 23. And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the God of Abraham, thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called what? Upon the name of the Lord. and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. Digged a well. Right? I want to take that again. And the Lord appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the God of Abraham, thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. God really loved Isaac. So fathers, do good with God, so that your children will have no more trouble. But also raise up your children to avoid the scenario in the book of Job, chapter 1, where you are the only one right with God, but the children are also drunk. So the wind comes and takes all of them without them doing, because that's what's happening today. So, choose to be the guy that says you've met Satan in Job chapter 1, but you've decided to follow God in the last chapter of Job. I think it's chapter 40, I don't know. You know? About making sense, eh? Yeah. Choose to be the one. Choose to be to say. Yeah, choose to be the one that says you met Satan in Job chapter 1. Then you decided to follow God in Job chapter 42, verse 12 to 17. No, choose to be that one. Let's look at, continue, Genesis chapter 6, we are continuing verse 26. Now there's a covenant again with, very interesting covenant between Isaac and Abimelech. Why? You'll be so blessed that your enemies will start coming to you to make peace. Because there is no other way. As you grow, you will overrun them. So they have to make peace with you and accept that you are great and there's nothing they can do, and just come and make peace with you so that as great as you are, you don't overrun them, right? Also, but keep in mind the teachings of Jesus Christ about your neighbor, because also those terms are new in terms of New Testament, they apply. Your relationship with your neighbor, your relationship with your enemies. Jesus Christ taught all these things in the New Testament, so you also need to keep aware of that. Be like Isaac in this scenario. Then Abimelech went to him from Gerar and Huzat, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. So this king Abimelech went diplomatically with the head of defense and an advisor or a friend. And Isaac said unto them, Wherefore came ye to me, seeing ye hate me and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, Let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. Have you seen? It's self-explanatory, this one. The enemy knew that this one, they even knew, acknowledge God, because their gods would not do this. How would one man with one woman end up being more powerful than a whole kingdom? And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink, because they are children also of God. Even the Philistines are children of God. They may not be of, still God's creation. They are alive, they are here, they are breathing, they are talking. They are also seeing the sun, as Isaac is seeing the sun. They are neighbors. So even God is their God, if they decide to follow him. That they are still roaming the same earth. There's a creation belonging to God, is an aspect. So that calls for peace. Have you seen? It's a solution for peace. Two warring people. It's a solution for peace. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning and sware one to another, and Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, We have found water, life, spirit. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beer-sheba unto this day. I wonder whether that's the source of the name Beer. I don't know. Where Sheba means, probably means seventh or old, confirming also the Abraham's name for Beersheba. In Swahili, Saba is 7, so quite related there. And Esau was 40 years old when he took the now we are jumping from Isaac to Esau. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith. This is verse 34. To wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Right? Which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. Why? Because they are Hittites. 2. Esau with no birthright. 3. Esau is of the field and wildly. So, and so there's like Esau the wild. Then you have 2 also more wives. Why 2? Could have just dealt one. Like so, it's a disappointment to this Isaac and Rebekah. And we shall end there today. Why? Because now from chapter 27, we have now the lens looking, or we'll be now looking at the life of Jacob as he steals the birthright. I don't want to read there because now it continues. Once you hit Jacob, Jacob goes, Jacob flees, blah blah blah. But all what is happening in chapter 27 is really inspired by Genesis chapter 25 verse 23. Okay? Yeah.